Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards Gothenburg once again, or Göteborg I should say in Swedish, and we're going to revisit one of probably Sweden's best known craft breweries these days. I've had some very good experiences with these guys in the past, and we're going to have a look at their latest release through the small partiers through Stigbergets here in Sweden. So for this one we're going to return to Stigbergets Bryggeri and we're having a taste of their Galore IPA. So this one was released on the 19th of October 2018 through Stigbergets, like I was saying, and this one is an IPA coming in at 6.5%, so should be quite an interesting one this. As always, looking forward to trying this beer, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. This one has been released before I think, but I've never tried it. I think it was released at the start of the summer and was maybe only exported over to Denmark and things like that. They have got a few other IPAs. I've noticed in the Kiosk web shop that they've got things like Visions and a couple of other Stigbergets beers that I hadn't actually heard of. So the next time I go over there, I will need to try and bring back a few more Swedish beers for me. It seems kind of illogical having to go over to Denmark and bring back Swedish beers, but you know, that's the reality of the Stigbergets system. I do think they need to relax some of the rules a little bit so that it's easier for the craft breweries to release kind of one-off beers and things like that through Stigbergets. But it does have its positives, you know, it keeps the prices down and stuff like that, but the bureaucracy is the kind of other side of the coin. But yeah, really interesting brewery this one, as I've told you before. Looking forward to trying this beer, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Stigbergets Bryggeri before, and this is review number 7 or 8 from these guys, and I'm sure I'll add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Stigbergets Bryggeri then. So as I've told you before, Stigbergets Bryggeri are based in Gothenburg, and they were founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and the pair own 2 bars that share the one kitchen, and this was Bar Kino and Hagabjörn's Cafe, which are located on Linnegatan in the city, and they both opened back in 2007. Now originally the idea was to brew a few beers that they could sell in the bars, but this eventually led to them kegging the beer and selling it to other pubs, and eventually bottling the beers, which started back in November of 2014. But their original beers were mainly English and German styles, but more recently they've been expanding of course into the American hoppy type beers and things like this. But they started out with a 1000 litre brew kit from Slovakia and later upgraded that to a 2000 litre JTM system from Denmark, which happened in December of 2015, and they were planning to double this capacity, which I think they did in their original brewery as well. But they were for a period of time, the original head brewer was Ole Andersson, who's the co-owner of OO Brewing. He's since returned there to focus on OO Brewing of course, and he was replaced for a period of time by Barnaby Struve as well, who was vice president at Three Floyds. But these guys have also recently opened up a new brewery at Partihalarna, where they brew 5,000 litres of beer at a time, and they've also been beginning to work on their sour beers as well. But they've also started selling their beers in these, the 440ml cans, and this means they'll also be able to export a lot more beer as well. This is the first Stigbergets beer that I'm reviewing for you on the channel that is in one of these cans. But they now have a brew team of Ollie Banks, who was previously of Beavertown Brewery, and I think it's Lucas Monroyd as well, who used to work for All In Brewing here in Sweden as well. But 2 very, very good brewers, and the beer quality apparently is still very, very good. Because a lot of people were worried when Ole Andersson left, but you know, Stigbergets have kind of kept the quality going, which is pretty damn good, I have to say. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Stigbergets Bryggeri just now. Definitely need to go and check out the Brewer's Bar and check out the original Hagabjörn's Cafe and Bar Kino and stuff when I'm up there, so that's something I will need to try and fit in at some point fairly soon. But yeah, really interesting brewery this one. If you haven't tried some of their beers and you're interested in Swedish beers, Stigbergets Bryggeri are one that you definitely want to check out. So yeah, that's all you need to know just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. But let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So there you can see There is the peacock on this one with these glorious feathers. Of course, you can see that. Nice artwork on that, actually. I do like that. I'll need to see if I can take the label off this and keep it. From what I understand, this beer was released in a silver can and it just had like a sort of circular label on it before. But yeah, 440ml can, or 44 centilitres as they've put it here. 6.5% ABV, which is Stigbergets' kind of standard ABV for their IPAs. But yeah, without further ado, let's get this guy out then and we'll get on with the tasting. We'll see how we get on with this one. And as I always do, I'm going to complain about the fact that this is a 440ml can rather than a half litre. I don't know why European breweries are obsessed with copying the American breweries and these fluid ounce systems. Just use the half litre as we've always used in Europe. I don't know why there's such an obsession with doing that. But yeah, as you open this beer up, you get some really nice notes off this. I think there's definitely some mosaic in here. You can smell it right away. It's got that nice tangerine and blueberry note to it, this beer. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some mosaic in this beer, and as you can see with it, it's poured a nice bright hazy golden yellow. I'll get rid of the brewery notes just now, turn the computer off. But yeah, as you can see with this, it's poured a nice bright orangey yellow. It leans a little bit more towards the yellowy side of things, I would say, but it does have that nice kind of orangey tint to it. You can see there's a solid 2 fingers of a frothy white head. That is going to go down a little bit, but yeah, looks pretty much as you would expect from one of these IPAs. It's not the haziest IPA that I've seen from Stigbergets, right enough. Maybe some of this, there is a little bit of sediment in the bottom of the can, so we'll check that a little bit later. But maybe it's going to be one of these ones I've talked about where they're giving it a little bit more of a kind of West Coast mouthfeel, and it's not quite as hazy as some of the other New England ones. But overall, it looks very, very nice, and pretty much as you would expect from one of these Stigbergets IPAs. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. I think there's definitely some mosaic in there. Yeah, it's got oranges, tangerines, a little bit of blueberry. I wonder if I think there's maybe a little bit of passion fruit or mango or something in there. There could be a little bit of maybe galaxy, I'm not sure. There could be a little bit of galaxy in this one, but I'm not quite certain. Yeah, if I was hedging my bets, I think Galaxy I think would be a fairly good bet. Citra could be the other one, but I'm pretty certain there's mosaic in here. It's always fun to try and guess the different hops in this, but from the aroma, I'm pretty sure that mosaic is one of the hops in this beer, and I know that Stigbergets do like mosaic as well. So that cements my opinion, or my thought rather. But yeah, smells lovely. That it's got a lovely big juicy orangey notes, some blueberries. There's something. I think there's a little bit of. I don't think it's quite passion fruit. I think it's got a little bit of a. It's either a very juicy passion fruit or a nice kind of mangoey note to it, and maybe there's a little touch of like a pineapple or something like that to this beer. So I do wonder if there is galaxy in here. But yeah, I'm pretty certain there's mosaic in this one. Yeah, mosaic definitely. But yeah, in terms of the grassy floral side of the hops, for me, there is a little touch of floral note there at the back of the nose, but mainly it's a little bit more grassy. In terms of the malt base, nice bit of wheaty sort of smoothness to it, and you can pick up some of the kind of oaty creaminess to it as well. When you take it in at the front of the nose, there's definitely a little bit of an oaty creaminess to this one. So yeah, nice bit of biscuity sweetness as well. Nice bit of biscuit sweetness. And I think that kind of sums up the aroma nicely. This one leans more towards the juicy fruity side of things, but it's got everything else that you would expect of one of these hazy IPAs. If I put my fingers behind the glass as well, I never did this earlier, you can see there is a degree of transparency to it, but it is pretty much, it is quite hazy, this one, but I'm guessing there will be a bit more sediment in the can, but we'll find out a little bit later. But let's have a taste of this one then. So this one is the Galore IPA at 6.5% from Stigbergets Bryggeri up in Gothenburg in Sweden, who have of course just opened up their new brewery, and you can expect some sour beers from them as well. So let's get stuck into this one then. Sláinte, skål. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That is a pretty nice beer, this one. Let's stick the rest of that in. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see that that beer has got a little bit more hazy. Yeah, there's a little bit, you can see little tiny bits of sediment just kind of floating around in this one, which is good. But yeah, with this one definitely, it's like I was kind of predicting it would be. It's got that kind of New England flavour to it, but it's got a little bit more of the West Coast bitterness, I think, and a little bit more of the West Coast mouthfeel, which is nice. Yeah. So I mean, with this beer, it is quite, to me, this is quite different in feel from the other ones I've had from Stigbergets before. So you can feel straight away there's a little bit of that pale malty quality, that just blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, and as the flavour kind of evolves a little bit more, you start to get a bit of the kind of wheaty smoothness to it, and right in the centre of the palate, you can feel the sort of oaty, that very slight oaty creaminess coming out of this one. There's not quite as much oaty creaminess in this one if you can compare to if you look at the likes of the Amazing Haze, for example. But it's got a little bit of a biscuity sweetness down the middle of the palate too, which is nice. And you know, the malt base is pretty much what you would expect, but I don't think the creaminess and the wheatiness in this one are as big as some of their other IPAs like Muddle or Amazing Haze or things like that. I think this one isn't quite as creamy as the other ones. So it's, as I say, I think this beer is a little bit more trying to find its ground between maybe a West Coast IPA and the New England one. It's got features of both. It's got the flavours of the New England, but I think it's got a little bit more of the bitterness and the mouthfeel that you'd expect of the West Coast IPA. And like I said, you know, that's something I've missed when it's come to IPAs recently. Everyone's been trying to do the New England things, and they've forgotten a bit about the West Coast IPAs with that sort of caramelly sweetness to them. This one doesn't have the caramelly sweetness right enough, but it's definitely got more of the bitterness and more of the oily mouthfeel than the previous efforts from Stigbergets Bryggeri, because the West Coast IPA that they do, it's still quite a hazy one. That's a nice beer, that, and if you do get the chance to try it, I do recommend that you have a look at it. Yeah, this one, yeah, this beer, on the hoppy side of things, it's quite nice. In the back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness there. Again, that makes me think that there's mosaic involved here, because it gives you a little touch of earthiness. But as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, the earthiness smooths out. Then you get forward to the front corners, and a nice, almost slightly spicy floral aromaticity to the beer. But then round the very front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and grassy. And of course, behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. But yeah, the fruity notes in this beer are really nice. I like this one, but as I've told you before on the channel, the IPAs that really hit the spot for me are the kind of nice orangey ones. Like, I love the Amarillo, the Mosaic. The Azaka's another one that can give you the orange as well. Mandarina Bavaria, from New Zealand you've got Pacifica as well. I love the kind of big orangey hops, and this one on the fruity side of things hits the spot for me. And as I always say, beer is subjective. What I would say about this one is, I don't, personally, in terms of the beer, I don't think this one is quite as strong, if you like. It's not quite on the same level as the Muddle or the Amazing Haze or the GBG 2016 or 2017, I forget. But it's still a really nice beer, and the orangey spots for me kind of hit the spot with this one. That's what I would say about this one. It's definitely a little bit more leaning towards the West Coast side of things, as I've said a couple of times. But I like the fruity side of this beer. So yeah, nice bit of juicy orange to this one. I think it mainly is orange. Maybe I was wide of the mark saying that I thought there was Galaxy or something like that in it, because it's mainly, I think it's mainly an orangey fruit that's in this one. It could well be that it's a Mosaic single hop beer, but I'm not quite sure that Stigbergets would do that. I think they always like to combine their hops a little bit, but Mosaic, I'm pretty sure, is definitely one of the hops in this. But I like the fruity side of this beer. So yeah, nice bit of juicy orange to this one. I think it mainly is orange. Maybe I was wide of the mark saying that I thought there was Galaxy or something like that in it, because it's mainly, I think it's mainly an orangey fruit that's in this one. It could well be that it's a Mosaic single hop beer, but I'm not quite sure that Stigbergets would do that. I think they always like to combine their hops a little bit, but Mosaic, I'm pretty sure, is definitely one of the beers, one of the hops in this. Yeah, I think there's, I don't know if there could be a little bit of a Citra or something like that in there, but Citra's a little bit more pronounced. There is something in there. It's got a little bit, it's definitely tangerine oranges, and at the very front tip of the palate you get the blueberry notes, which is one of the more complex things that you get out of Mosaic, but mainly a tangerine orange, and there's almost a little touch of a mango or passion fruit or something in there. It could be Galaxy, but and as you go further into the aftertaste, you do start to get this slightly darker, just not even quite sour, but just a darker tropical fruity flavour from this one, which does make me wonder if it is a little bit of Galaxy, because Galaxy gives you that passion fruit, but it also gives you a little bit of the pineapple notes, and there is almost a little bit of pineapple in this one coming out in the aftertaste, which is quite interesting. But as I say, in terms of the fruitiness of this beer, this one hits the spot for me, but that's because I love the beers that lean a little bit towards the orangey side of things. But this is a nice beer, it's a nice IPA, and it's really easy to drink, as is typical with the Stigbergets ones. But if you compare it to some of the other ones that they've done before, it's not quite as thick in its sort of creaminess, if you like, and it does have a little bit more of a kind of West Coast characteristic to it. But I think that's nice. I'm finding more and more IPAs are starting to lean a little bit more towards the West Coast mouthfeel and things, and as I say, that's something that I've missed for a good little while, because everyone's been wanting to do these New England IPAs and they've just forgotten about the West Coast things. But this is a nice beer, and if you get the chance to try it, I really recommend that you do. It's a nice one, and I do need to make sure I try some of the other ones they've released, like Visions and stuff like that. I'll need to see if I can get a hold of those over in Copenhagen the next time I go. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I would say yeah, mid-bodied beer, carbonation's very smooth, leans a little bit towards the oily side of things, but it does have a little bit of that creaminess that you'd expect of the New England IPA, not as much as some of their other beers, like I said. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness, I would reckon somewhere around the 40, maybe pushing 50 IBU mark with this beer. Nice juicy fruits to it, of course, and the malt base has a good balance between the smoothness and the sweetness. But overall, another very, very solid IPA from Stigbergets. Just not quite on the same level, in my opinion, as Muddle Amazing Haze and the GVG Beer Week one that they did, but it's still very, very close to that. It leans, it's a nice beer, this one. If you like orangey IPAs, I think this one is going to hit the spot for you. If you like the Mosaic hop, I think this is one that you are going to enjoy. But another very, very solid beer from Stigbergets, and it's been cool to return to these guys again after a little while. So if you get the chance, have a go at this. Like I say, released on the 19th of October 2018 through Systembolaget here in Sweden, and I'm sure you will start to see this one in various other countries as well. But let's leave it at that just now. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Stigbergets, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out my social media, and make sure you try some of these Stigbergets beers as well. Until the next time, Slanja, skål.